FM, my anti-corruption channel, and here on Chit Chat Wednesday special. Well, I like to move it, and we are going to move it now in this very special morning. And once again, this month is a very special month because it's the month that we celebrate, and it's the week that we celebrate International Anti-Corruption Day, which is on this Saturday, 9th of December. And so today, this wonderful Chit Chat Wednesday, we'll have a wonderful discussion on a very, very interesting topic, which is basically forensic accounting in the private sector. Wow, we always heard about forensic, in the hospital. Suddenly you've got forensic accounting, forensic this, forensic that. Everything is a forensic.
Yes, because when I was secondary school, I only know forensic.
Only in secondary school?
Secondary school. When I was in secondary school, that's a forensic because I see CSI movie.
CSI.
So I see, this one something related to this murder case, something related to, most of the murder
So accounting also got murder?
Yeah. I was wondering, forensic also go accounting also go forensic.
Yeah.
So we having a wonderful guest.
So to clear all those doubts, we have a wonderful guest here from a very well-known organization, who is also what you call an organization that looks into transparency and is also an anti-corruption advocate in the world. And please, it's our pleasure to welcome Mr. Raymon Ram. Good morning, Raymon. Welcome on board. Welcome to MACC FM. Well, how has it been so far?
Thank you for having me, Vijay. Very good morning to everyone. So, so I'll do my best to explain what forensics is.
We want to interview a lot today.
Yeah, we're going to grill him.
Yeah, he always stand by FB Live,
Yeah, exactly. We're live, so, apart from going live and watching this interview live on www.maccfm, macc.fm, basically, you can also catch it live on TI's Facebook page. So, if you just type TI, Transparency International Malaysia, and you'll see this wonderful, handsome gentleman in front of us, with us, and he's going to talk about forensic accounting. So, Kumar,
shall we start?
Let's move it.
This is standard basic question. Your background, sir.
Who are you? What are you? And how did you end up in this forensic accounting?
All right. Basically, I'm a certified fraud examiner. Okay. So when you say certified fraud examiner, our task is basically on detecting, on preventing fraud, and also providing training, and also if there's any investigations to be done and things like that. So we go in and provide our services. So how it came about, how did I enter this field? Basically,
But before that, Raymond, many people are watching you. So there are many potential people around there also. So you just share your biodata a bit. Either to safeguard yourself or to attract more people.
So basically
name, age, certain statistics.
So I mean, my name is already stated on screen, I guess. So with my, I'm actually 29 years old. Yeah,
actually
29. Yeah, I know because a lot of people think that I'm much older than that. So I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing.
I thought more than 30. Okay, wonderful.
Yeah. So actually, basically, how did I come about into this field of forensics per se? Growing up, I've always been fascinated by forensics. By what Kumaran just said. CSI, criminal minds, then you have we even have Gerakas and all that. So always been fascinated what is forensics and how crime is solved. But when my days in college, I realized that a lot of, no attention was put on white collar crime compared to blue collar crime. Everything was on blue collar crime because you can see what's happening, you can see burglary happening, you can see a person getting killed, you can see the effects directly, straight on the spot. But when it comes to white collar crime, it's different. The effects are long term. The effects are huge. The effects are sometimes more than blue collar crime. People don't seem to understand that, and not much focus is being placed on white collar crime. That's why I told myself that I'm going to go into this field. And this is the area where I want to explore more and find out what are the opportunities and how I can actually create value in the future in this field.
A bit on your experience and education background.
Yes.
just for knowledge purposes?
Basically, I did my degree in psychology.
Psychology?
Yes, totally
My
different
goodness,
field.
yeah.
The initial intention was going to for forensic psychology. Okay, basically it's all about competence to stand trial, witness analyzing witness statements and things like that. But then, as I went about, I believe that more opportunities in Malaysia lies in fraud management. So I picked up a course on economic crime management. After that, I moved on to the US to do my certified fraud examiner.
Help University?
Yes, the program in Help University.
Don't worry, I'm an alumni.
Oh, okay. I was in Help for quite some time, both my degree and my master's as well.
I was there since the inception of it. The underground, which is now all demolished.
All demolished, yes. Nothing is left there.
Yeah.
So that's how I came about the field. And moving forward, when I became a certified fraud examiner, what we do now is we bring together different areas of forensics to resolve a certain allegation. Okay. They say allegation comes up. It's never only needing forensic accountants. It's never only needing digital forensic expertise. It's never only needing data scientists. Maybe you need different collaborative, different divisions to collaborate together to resolve a certain allegation. So that's why, as a fraud examiner, I need to be in tune with all those areas. What is forensic accounting? What's digital forensic? What can it provide for me? What is data recovery? What data scientists can do? What if you do an analysis on certain structured data, not structured data? What can I get? What's the results? So all that, I need to know all that before I can even carry out an investigation. So hence, that's how we move forward when it comes to forensics and things like that. Yeah.
So how has your work experience taken you? And upon graduating, did you dive straight into the field of forensic accounting, or what were you doing?
Well, upon graduation, I joined a firm that deals with corporate insolvency. Okay, so basically I was in charge to set up the forensics department, and the forensics department, we do asset tracing, asset recovery to find out where those assets are, what's the value, how can we realize those assets, and then when it comes to project rehabilitation, where are the issues, how can we resolve them. So those are the areas where I started. Okay,
at Jabatan Insolvency?
No, I work for a firm that was an agent for Jabatan Insolvency. All right, under my managing principal at the time, Dato' Ravindra Kumar. We basically, one of the first corporate insolvency firms to start off at that moment.
Right.
And then I spearheaded the forensics department, and after that I left. And now I've just recently founded my own company, which is a faith management consultancy, where we are dealing strictly to do with forensics. So strictly with prevention, detection, response to fraud-related matters. So anything to do with white-collar crime, whether it be training, providing a whistleblower hotline for the corporate side, or is it even if there's any investigations to be done, any recovery of data to be done, or if there's any fraud that's already happened and you want to find out how you can do loss prevention, recovery of assets and things like that, that's what we provide.
Okay. Yeah. Now, just to give a head start for our listeners, to get a bit of a background on this topic before, after the break, we'll dive straight into, what is this whole forensic accounting all about. But just before that, maybe you could just define forensic accounting and how does it differ, or does it complement, or does it sit in the same boat as fraud? So how would you distinguish between the works of fraud investigation, and how does it link to all this? Maybe for people's knowledge, what is actually fraud? Taking on from that.
Okay. Basically, everyone needs to understand what is forensics, because forensic ain't just about that. Like what Kumaran just mentioned. So if forensic accounting, does it mean that somebody died in the account? Doesn't make sense. So basically, the word forensic is the use of specialized techniques and knowledge to gather evidence to be used in court. That's all it means. It just means that you use a certain technique and knowledge to gather evidence that is admissible in court. It can spearhead, it can collide, or you can go with any other fields. So you can go with forensic psychology, like I mentioned earlier. You can go with forensic pathology. You can go with forensic science, like talking about fingerprints, your DNA testing and things like that. So it's not forensics alone. It just means gathering admissible evidence.
Wow. Yeah. That's a lot of field, huh? Involve forensic.
Yeah.
So even forensic dentistry, if something happens, right? You want to find out how did the crime happen, what happened, what was the cause of that, and things like that, right? So moving forward, forensics needs to be understood as a term of gathering evidence, not just what we see on TV, not just CSI.
So
if
Louis was the one who was biting players,
correct. It's also you can do a teeth matching test to find out, I guess.
So it's also involved forensic, huh?
Correct.
It's more to gather evidence.
Correct.
All right.
Yeah. And then gathering evidence. For what would you gather evidence? To prove or disprove the fact in issue, basically. Correct.
All right.
So that was forensic is. But looking into forensic accounting, what's forensic accounting then? If that's forensic, what's forensic accounting? Forensic accounting simply means using your skills of accounting in gathering evidence. So simple as that. Using your fields of accounting to resolve allegations of fraud and also to analyze financial information in cases of disputes. So not only criminal cases, even civil cases. You want to value assets. You want to find out how what was the shares they would hold by certain directors, what was the amounts that are due. All this can be done by forensic accountants. It's just gathering evidence here.
Fraud then.
Fraud.
But how would you define or give a clarification on fraud?
Fraud.
Yeah.
Fraud, like any crime, fraud is a white-collar crime. Well-known fact, white-collar crime. And like any crime, there's two legal terms. Mens rea, actus rea. Mens rea talks about your intention. You can't unknowingly commit a crime. That's an accident, correct? Actus rea is the action itself. Okay? So these two elements, and when it comes to fraud specifically, it would be knowingly misrepresenting a material fact that causes damage to someone for your own personal gain. It could be anything. So these four elements need to be there. You need to knowingly do something, causes damage to someone for your own personal gain.
How can you comically put that?
How can you comically put that?
Yeah, because we know we got a whole load of listeners who would probably go, oh God, what is this now?
If there's a gossip that someone tells you something, lies to you, lies to you, and it doesn't affect you in any way, it's not fraud. It's no damage to you at all. I don't know what is that personal gain going to be by gossiping. So that's not. It doesn't entice someone to do something. Okay, right. It doesn't create any kind of loss to the person, any kind of damage. So it's not fraud per se, right? So that could be the most comical way I could think of it.
But one thing, sir, apart from getting evidence through the forensic method, but analyzing thing is the most challenging part. I believe that. So I think we go on second question on that.
Sure.
All right, Tuan J.
Yeah. And Raymond on forensic accounting.
Yeah, Mr. Raymond, curious about a few questions. All right. You're talking about gathering evidence. Okay, that's fine. Just generally, apart from gathering evidence, how the analyzing is done?
How the analyzing is done? You see, analyzing in any case, it would differ in every case.
All right.
Okay, let me give you a small example. Recently, I was been involved in a case where there was an allegation of forged signature, per se. Okay, forged signatures on a document. Now, how do you analyze that? I need to call in a handwriting expert to find out whether, they have their ways of doing it, the indentation, the what kind of coding. So that is one aspect of the whole investigation. It could be also an example of maybe if there is another allegation where there's a corruption going on. Okay, there's procurement fraud going on. Another party outside is working with an employee. So we need to analyze the documents that has been issued by the company outside, the documents, the approval process that's been done in the company, and how does that match? Okay, how does that match actually? And the primary concern here wouldn't be just analysis. It would be how do you preserve the evidence? You see, sometimes auditors, when they do their audit, they might come across fraud. They might come across something. Okay, when they report, they can report, fine. But when they report and just say, for instance, authorities take over. They take over, the documents are given to them. Documents given to them, but how was the documents maintained prior to giving it to them? That would be another issue. Where was the documents? Whether a proper chain of custody, whether it was kept properly, anyone else had access to it, how did you even procure? Did you just take the original document, just photocopy and just give it to us? It will not be admissible in court. Now for the authorities to go in back to find those documents again, to analyze again, would take ages.
All right. So there's a few examples given by Mr. Raymond. Okay, you were talking about auditing just now. Okay, auditors. What differ our auditors and forensic?
Yeah, I would like to highlight that's actually one topic that has been out in the papers all the time. Why I say that is because if any company falls to state through fraud, right, they always mention this thing called were the auditors sleeping. But one thing they need to understand is it's not the auditor's duty to fine for fraud. It's not in their auditing standards. Okay,
Alright,
audit is basically a test done based on general auditing standards to provide a reasonable assurance that the accounts is away from any material misstatement.
Okay.
Reasonable assurance, that's all. That everything's fine. Provide check and balance. Okay. Fraud, forensic accountants differ in a way where we only go in when there's an allegation. When there is smoke, when there's red flags, we go in. We go in and we specify, we direct investigation only on that point. And not only to prove, maybe to also disprove the allegation. Either way. So we go in as independent party, find out whether this really happened, this is possible, or it didn't happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you all work together with internal auditors of
Yes.
organizations?
Most of the time, internal auditors are the ones with all the access. In any company.
So that's your first layer
Correct.
of gathering information.
Correct.
And
So we could go back to them and say, did this come about? Did you probably, maybe you have a whistleblower hotline, did you get some kind of allegation, something like that prior to this? We'll ask them that first. They said no, we go into documents, look at the test they've done. If they've never looked at the transaction at all, it's fine. We can move along, most of the time we work together with them. Okay, let them get the data, let them get everything, we analyze together.
Okay.
Right? So because end of the day, the internal auditors are reporting to the audit com.
Yes.
They're not reporting management.
Yeah.
Management has the duty to provide all information that is requested by the auditors. Yeah.
So it's teamwork. Actually.
Teamwork.
It's not only forensic accounts; they're their own work. It's together with the auditors.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's
So the
teamwork.
involvement of internal auditors are also very vital in this
yes, true.
process. Okay, Raymond, take us through the elements in forensic accounting. Basically, we can go through a dummies course, a 101 on forensic accounting, right from its beginning, and what are the various components, and then going on to certain experiences.
Okay, fine. When I do guest lectures sometimes in university. When you say forensic, they get excited. When you go into forensic accounting, they start sleeping off. Okay, why? Not because accounting is boring, in a way, but not because accounting is boring. But you see, when it comes to forensic accounting, it's not only fraud. They are also in different areas of business. They can be involved in valuations. Okay, maybe like I said earlier, value of shares, value of certain assets in disputes. They can be involved in professional negligence claims. Now I want to find out whether a certain professional was negligent in carrying out duties. If he was, to what extent? What is the economic damages? We do that. And also in divorce cases, in some divorce cases, family law cases, spouses try to hide their assets, try to undervalue their assets, don't want to provide to their partner and things like that. Forensic accountants are also there. And then lastly, fraud. So not only fraud, they have the capability to find evidence and to analyze financial data. Okay, not only when it comes to crime and things like that seem exciting to teenagers and seem exciting to many others. Yeah.
Okay, so on that, and then what you call, so other than looking into what are the areas now? What are normally the kind of issues that are raised in a forensic accounting journey, so to say?
Issues that are raised.
Yeah.
Most of the time, issues.
Or let me maybe just rephrase it. What are the types of complaints or cases? Do you vary in terms of category, or is it just lumped into just one?
If we focus only on fraud, just say fraud. Fraud is huge.
Yeah.
Fraud has many schemes that can be perpetrated, but we were lucky that the ACFE, Association of Certified Fraud Examiners, provide us with what are how they divided 3 categories to fraud. One is asset misappropriation. Here, asset misappropriation means the way you handle cash. You misuse cash, or you steal cash, or either your inventory or other assets. Right? Then you have corruption. Corruption can range from basic bribery. Corruption can range from conflicts of interest. You're extorting someone for money or giving them gifts. And then the last one would be financial statement fraud. Financial statement fraud here could seem not so important because it doesn't happen that much as the others, but when it happens, it creates the highest amount of losses. It's huge because when you try to manipulate accounting data and make your financial position look beautiful when it's not, you deceive your investors, you deceive the banks. This could create a ripple effect that would destroy an economy. All right, we have seen that a lot in few companies in Malaysia itself. So those are areas of fraud where forensic accountants go in and do the analysis and provide the information. All right.
Okay.
I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on.
Maybe reserve ones after this.
Reserve for the next one.
Because I believe that whatever job, there should be up and downs.
Yeah. Yeah. You know?
And when you involve forensic account, it's not one document, two document. You know.
Exactly. Exactly. So just before we get on to the next break, you know, just to conclude this part of the interview, what you call actually when did this forensic accounting element come into focus in investigating,
we can say
whether crime or fraud, or whether you said non-crime, non-criminal thing,
civil cases as well.
Yes. What other than certain disputes and all that, is there any specific area? And actually, when did forensic accounting come into picture and become something that people go, because we'll share our experience here in MACC. Forensic accounting was not something that we were an expert in. We never had a deep expertise in this field. It was only in the last 5 years that forensic accounting division was held, and we had officers trained in that field and all that, and that's how we could actually, somebody asked me in a public talk, hey, how come you guys suddenly pop up this particular case, and why wasn't it done back then, when so and so was in service or in office and so, and it's something that I explained to them, that you see, not all the time we had our expertise, and it's only in the last 5 years that as everything evolved, as in the course of evolution, we too saw there was a need, and of course you won't have the best answers at all times. So it was due to the fact that now we are equipped, and of course because things can be very, very complicated. With financial things, so maybe you can share with us how did this thing come into importance in solving white collar crime.
All right, so basically, like I said earlier, I wanted to do forensic psychology last time. It's not a field in Malaysia. It's not big. You cannot find it anywhere. No one really has to think about it yet, because this field has not evolved. Forensic psychology has not evolved that much, right? Same as forensic accounting. Forensic accounting has evolved quite a bit.
How old is it? How old is it in the field now?
It's been around for
infant stage.
No, it's been around for very long. But again, we need some Western case studies before we start implementing things here. This happens all the time. And of course, more focus on forensic accounting came in after Enron. After Enron went down in the US, Enron went down, and people started questioning, how can the management blatantly do whatever they want with the accounts, create fake companies, fake documents, and they never got caught.
And a fantastic image out there.
Fantastic image. I went for a conference the other day. Okay, I went for a conference last year in Singapore. Andrew Festow was a speaker. He came in, and he was the CFO of Enron earlier when they went down. So he came in and he carried out two things. One was an award, and one was a prison card. Okay, he just carried out both and said, I got both of these in the same year doing the same thing. Okay,
interesting.
So, interesting.
Very interesting.
It is true. He did the same thing and got both awards. I mean, not both awards, the prison card and the award. So what I'm trying to say is, now the more focus has been put, even in Malaysia, in our country itself, we had big cases like Transmile. Transmile, there was assets were inflated by 600 million. No one knew that things like that could happen. So after a few other companies came about,
Satyam is another case,
of course in India, and we had Tyco, we had WorldCom, we had massive case studies, and even Malaysia a few, and that's when more focus was being put on forensic accounting, questioning, and not only because these cases took place, because sometimes these cases happens, and people who go to, and those who get charged and go to court, doesn't get the punishment they deserve. Why? That issues came out because of the way evidence were kept, the way evidence were preserved, the technicalities of things were questioned. So that's where forensic accounting became more important. How is forensics now? Forensics needs to, we need awareness on forensics for people to understand that evidence is just not take the piece of paper, provide it to court. How do you provide the evidence? So all this needs to be taken into account. So that's how the field attained more awareness, the field evolved even more. Yeah, in my point of view. I
got it. Because it involves a lot of technicality.
Correct.
Yes, that's the most important.
That's the main thing defense lawyers will hit you.
Yes. Yeah, technical. Shall we have a break?
Yes, definitely.
We give break to Mr. Raymond.
And we'll come back with more stories and information on forensic accounting. So stay tuned to Chit Chat Wednesday here on MACC FM,
my anti-corruption channel.
MACC FM's Chit Chat Wednesday here on the topic of forensic accounting, and with me is Mr. Raymon Ram, who is one of the EXCO members with TI International Malaysia, and of course being part of that, one of his expertise is in forensic accounting. So Raymond, as just to continue now, people might be thinking, okay, this is forensic accounting, fine, yeah, roughly this is what. Okay. Under what circumstances and what criterias do I need to meet, basically, how do I then avail the services of a forensic accountant, and why is a forensic accounting specialist or expert important, and at which time?
Okay, basically, if you talk fraud, if you talk about any allegations that come into play, okay, any allegations that come into play, and you need financial assistance, not say financial assistance, but assistance to decipher financial information. Those are where forensic accountants play a key role, okay, and that would be fraud for crime. Then even in areas where there's intangible assets, there's disputes, or there's something that it's hard to value per se, the economic damages is hard to value, even like cases like negligence I mentioned earlier, hard to value. This is the areas where forensic accountants come in and try to put a price tag on it to find out what was the damages and how can it be replaced. And also, it's also good when an allegation comes in, consult a forensic accountant first. Don't straight dive into your investigation gung-ho and try to gather evidences that you feel is the way to gather and find and take documents that you feel will be admissible in court. So don't go straight into it. Consult a forensic accountant, find out what are the proper steps to take when an allegation has come about. Okay, first thing, what can you do? Okay, first thing, what documents would you need? Get a plan done. What are the documents you're gonna get? Who are you gonna interview? What is your plan towards taking the case to court, maybe? All right. So all this you need to consult the forensic accountant before diving in. So don't straight away dive in. So that's the whole idea, all right? And also, if so basically there are a few areas where forensic accountants need to come in and provide their consultation or their services before people just dive in and lose everything. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Kumar?
Okay, I believe that forensic accounting is not involved like one piece, two piece document.
Of course, never.
Okay, what is the biggest challenges in forensic accounting?
Like what you said earlier, sometimes you meet clients and they give you hard copies of documents, and then you got to go through boxes and boxes of documents, like a typical audit. But now things are a bit more challenging than a typical audit, because you're not just doing your tests. They expect results, and sometimes you trying to prove they want you to prove the case in some cases, but maybe it didn't happen. Maybe it's just one of those anomalies.
All right.
Okay, we can't prove the case, but the client's expectations are different. And to meet their expectations, to provide them, we can't be biased to what they want. We need to be dependent. So we go in, we check the documents, we do our analysis and things like that. We provide our results. You're not happy with the results, or if your results you want to take it to court, whatever, it's up to you.
All right.
That depends on the client itself, because this is a consultancy engagement, not an assurance engagement per se, right? Yeah. So that's a few.
Best case scenario, let's say the duration. Let's say you get a document, you need to all the checking and you analyze. How long will it take?
these things need to be done fast, but again, it varies from case to case. And of course, when something has come up, you have to do it as fast as possible. There is no way. Let me give you an example.
All right.
Okay, just say.
I think a classic case would be from the the first step of receiving certain information or allegation or one. How does your day-to-day?
I mean, basically, first when you start off, you are going to first sit down with your client and plan out the whole thing. Do the scoping part of it. Scope into and this in the scoping itself, you need to be upfront on what would be expected out of it. Okay, what are the documents you're going to go through? How many years of information would you go through? What are the types of accounts would you go through? So all these need to be put upfront straight away. Okay, when that is put upfront, then you give them the expectation. Okay, of the time frame and what will happen, and also you need to give a small leeway of how it can evolve. These things can change. All right, you can be chasing a certain part, and sometimes you find another evidence somewhere else that actually taking you to another part. Things will evolve. So all that needs to be done in the fundamental stage itself. Moving forward from there, you do your analysis. You gather evidence. You do your interpersonal interviews that you need to do, because it's never only physical evidence. To direct you to certain suspects, you need to do interviews as well.
I see.
Talk to your friends. And interviews doesn't mean go straight to the suspect and ask questions. Don't ever do that. First thing you have to do is interview those around them. Those their friends, their colleagues, or maybe their subordinates, their superiors. Then you slowly go into their circle. Slowly go into them and find out and try to corroborate all the stories. Corroborate those stories and match it with the documents. Do your analysis and come up with the results. And it's never, in my experience, it's never only forensic accounting. It's never only accountants involved. You need to first recover data from those systems. You need digital forensic guys to come in. You come in with that massive amount of data, you need data scientists to come in. You need data analytic tools to use to analyze those data. So there's so many different players per se in one investigation. And it depends from case to case. There's never only one forensic accountant settling the job, going to court, settle, no such thing.
You need the digital forensic.
Because we are now so digitized with everything. It's no more basic bookkeeping and writing down, no way. It's no more Excel, no more all this. You now need to recover data. People who try to destroy their own data, try to smash hard drives and things like that. You need digital guys to come in. So it's always different players working together and coming out results.
Hey, we also do all this.
But the thing is, it's not only forensic accounting. You need to digital forensic too.
Yes.
Because nowadays, not only everything in physical, it's all soft copy.
It's in cloud.
It's in cloud.
Yes.
It's all in system.
All in the cloud.
True. We don't know where it is.
So maybe approximately 1 month, 2 months.
No, it cannot. You can't say. It depends from case to case.
What's the fastest
that
you have done?
If it's
that has been done.
I don't think we can give a proper time frame, because it totally depends. And sometimes you don't come in the beginning of the investigation. You come in the middle. Just say a lawyer already has a case, already moving forward, and now they want to decipher a certain amount of certain accounts. We go in, we provide our analysis, give it to them, and they just conclude. Also can.
All right.
So it's never just forensic accounting cases takes 3 months. No such thing.
All right.
It depends.
Depends.
On that note, Raymond, how are your findings credible or admissible in court?
How are the findings admissible?
First, your expertise. How is it sort of admissible or accepted in a court hearing? What are the what are the qualifications?
I mean, basically, you need to understand your Evidence Act in the first place. Find out what are types of evidence that will be admissible. Maintain proper chain of custody. Make sure from the day you get the document and how you keep it until the end, it's all done right. Okay, it's done in order. Consult your lawyers. Make sure everything is kept properly, and make sure you have, if you can, have the original ones. Don't just photocopy and put back. So these are a few things that they need to keep in mind before going to court, before going for this kind of cases. Right, and always consult different parties. It's never a one man's game. When it comes to forensic accounting, white collar crime, it's never one man's game. So that's a whole that's the advice I could give, basically.
Okay. So on that, moving forward, what is the future of forensic accounting, and your advice for those youngsters out there, or for any adult, who would be interested in this field? what is the scope in terms of career advancement, job scope, and even as for knowledge purpose.
Yep.
What would your advice be, and how would you advise people out there who are probably listening in to probably venture into forensic accounting?
Well, as we all know, we are now entering this fourth industrial revolution, they can say, okay? Where this fourth industrial revolution would be a fusion of your physical, your digital state, and biological. Everything is already become one. We have things like, now crime would evolve, fraud and hacking and cybercrime, it will evolve. How would it evolve? Crime now can be done transnationally, anywhere, anyone from anywhere, correct? A teenager could hack a big corporation and take them down by learning how to hack on YouTube. Am I right? So things like that are evolving, and the perpetrator profiles will change. Everything we need to take the step forward and keep in pace with those things. And now we also have Internet of Things, IoT. IoT just means everything now is connected online. Your appliances at home, microwave could be connected online. Your phones, your sensitive laptops that you have, which has your working information, is connected online. We have cases in the US where kids can hack one equipment and get information from the sensitive notebook because it's all connected. So this is taking a shift. Everything is changing. You see what I mean? And there's also areas where, as technology advances more, AI is going to come in. There's going to be bots. There's going to be taking down different corporations. One person doesn't need to work full time just to hack and just type at how you see in the movies, right? No need anymore. Bots can do it for you. And lastly, could be even dark web, deep web that we hear around. It provides another channel for illicit transactions, which nobody knows. And there's no way to find out the identity of those behind those websites. Now, we have so many examples of how it's evolving. Now, with this, forensic accountants also will evolve and has to evolve. Things need to change. We cannot do traditional accounting, traditional way of investigation anymore. Collaboration is key. You need to have data guys that's driving the thing. You need to have digital guys that are side by side with you, and then analyze those accounts and come up with the results of the investigation. It's never a one-man scheme.
It's not a one-man.
And then that's how it's going to evolve further as we move forward. And my advice to probably those who are seeking a career in this, it's exciting, but don't die in your spirit should not die in the first 5 years. Okay, because it's very tedious. It's not something where you go in, it's forensic accounting, this is going to be so exciting, something new every day, blah blah blah. You're going to be looking at one document 10 times a day. Correct.
So how does then one become a forensic accountant?
What
are the basics?
There's many ways, because of course, to be a qualified forensic accountant per se, you need to first be an accountant, and then you specialize in the area. For me, I am a certified fraud examiner. I'm not a certified accountant per se, okay? But what I do is I bring about all these characters, all these players together during investigations, because I know what are their specialties and what are their expertise and what they can provide me. So
what is required to address the particular
So we manage the investigation by providing different expertise. And for you, if you want to be only in forensic accounting, being an accountant and specialize in forensics. You want to do digital forensics, master in IT, go into forensic IT. So it depends which area you want to go in. And the one thing key that I would like to advise even the youngsters nowadays, data is going to drive our next revolution. Data is the main thing. Not even technology. Technology is there. But we have massive amount of data. Knowing how to bring about those data and create information will put you at upper hand as you move forward.
Wow, very interesting.
What I get to know, the main thing is teamwork. That's the most important. You need the data player, digital player.
You need gathering of various expertise.
You need forensic player. So all the expertise joined together.
You know what? This is Justice League.
Justice League. Yes, that's the right word. I like it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Mr.
thank you.
Raymon Ram. A wonderful topic today, a wonderful sharing and knowledge.
Indeed. I think we can go on and on and on.
Yes.
And on.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a huge topic.
a huge topic and a very interesting topic. You know,
Yes.
so I'm sure we would, in some time in the future, we'll definitely be, summoning back,
Yes.
Mr. Raymond.
Because I want to ask a question, but it seems there's a time limitation today.
Yeah.
So reserve next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll reserve more
My
for next
pleasure,
time.
my pleasure, sure.
Thank you again, Raymond.
Thank you.
For being here. I hope you enjoyed being here. Hopefully.